Hey guys, I'm here, also known as 8vinyllow, bringing you all another video. Today's video is going to be kind of a two-parter. I know that I mentioned in a previous video that I had upgraded a little bit my system. I got some new speakers and got a new cartridge. So I definitely want to show them in this video for those who are curious about what I upgraded to, and hopefully this video will help others who are kind of in the same position that I was in terms of wanting to upgrade new bookshelf speakers, new cartridge. It's nothing crazy for those who have been collecting for years and years and years. It's nothing crazy. It's not some like major audiophile type thing, but I figured it would be helpful for individuals who are kind of in my position, just kind of starting getting into record collecting. I mean, I'm not necessarily starting, but in terms of upgrading kind of beginner basic turntables and giving it a little bit more of a spice and an upgrade, right? That's what an upgrade does. So I'll share that towards the end of this video, but what I figured, hey, I want to do something else but just show my new speakers and a new cartridge. So what I figured, hey, what do these things do? They make records sound better, right? It's all about the sound. It's why we collect records. So what I figured I'd do is I thought that I would showcase 5 albums in my collection that sound amazing. So I know that people have done this before, but I haven't. So here are 5 albums. This will be part 1. 5 albums in my collection that sound amazing. First one, this is my favorite Beatles album. This is the Beatles Revolver, of course. And this is in mono. This was released in 2014. Of course, includes the original master recordings, all analog, and it is just absolutely incredible. So, for it being my favorite Beatles album, I knew that at some point I needed to have this, and of course I acknowledge that I'll probably never own the Beatles in mono box set because that's very, very pricey. So if anything else, I need my favorite Beatles album in mono from this release. So Revolver in mono, so good. This sounds amazing. I just put it on a couple of weeks ago when I was breaking in my speakers and cartridge, and it just blew me away how good this is. So Beatles in mono, number 1. This is, and I've showed this recently, I think, in a couple videos back, but this is Generation X KMD Sweet Revenge. This is a 220 gram vinyl, so this thing is heavy, but of course it sounds amazing. This was put out by Munster Records, and this was an album that had been recorded in 1979, but wasn't released until the 90s, I think like 1998 or something. I know this came out in 1998. So, but like I said, this is the only 200 gram vinyl that I own, but it really does sound incredible. So good. Next one, of course, Cheap Trick. This is probably my favorite album of all time and my favorite Cheap Trick album. This is, of course, Cheap Trick's self-titled debut from 1977. This is my play copy. This is an album that I have the most copies for. I have like 7 or 8 copies of this album. But this is my play copy because it sounds amazing. This is by far the best sounding version of this album that I know of. This was released by Speakers Corner in 2015, and Speakers Corner I feel like always does a phenomenal job. But of course, remastered from the original analog tapes. This sounds amazing. So if you are in the market for Cheap Trick self-titled debut, pick this version up. You will not be disappointed. So good. Speaking of Speakers Corner, this is another absolutely phenomenal pressing of one of the best, if not the best, blues albums of all time. Of course, Albert King, Born Under a Bad Sign. When I was in the market for this record, when I really first started to get into the blues, Of course, I needed to pick this up, and I knew that I was not going to get an original for, that's like a small fortune. So what was the next best thing? What's the best sounding version that I can get for the price? And this was released by Speakers Corner in 2018. I got this a couple years ago, and luckily I only paid $35 for this. Now they're pricey and they're hard to find. So if you ever find this for a low price, under $40, pick it up so fast. Under $50 even. Definitely scoop it up if you're in the market for this. But Albert King, Born Under a Bad Sign, Speakers Corner from 2018. So good. Sounds amazing. Probably the best, in my opinion, sounding album in my collection. Analog Productions, duh. But Analog Productions, of course, Muddy Waters, folk singer. I picked this up probably a year and a half ago, and the reason why I grabbed this is because of Jeff Kempen. He's shown this a few times on his channel, but I remember specifically sitting down watching his videos, and he showed this album and talked so highly of it. He said that he felt like Muddy was in the room, the same room with you as you were listening to this album, and he even said this was one of his best sounding albums in his collection. So getting into the blues, I know I need this. What do? I picked this up online. I think I paid around $45-50 for it, which at the time was like a lot of money for records, and it probably still is to normal people, but now I'm like dishing out that money often because record collecting and issues. You guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so Muddy Waters, folk singer, he's 100% right. It really does sound like Muddy is right there in the room with you, like you're getting an intimate set with Muddy Waters. So I have yet to play this on my new table with the new cartridge and new speaker. So I am like so dang excited to listen to this with the new setup. So Jeff, thank you again. This is incredible. So if you are in the market for folk singer, if you're in the market for Born Under a Bad Sign, and of course you should always be in the market for this Cheap Trick self-titled debut, Generation X, and that was backwards, the Beatles Revolver in mono. Pick these up because they sound incredible. But with that is part one of my video. Now we will move into the speakers and the new cartridge, so enjoy. Here we go. All right, so the speakers that I upgraded to, these are the ELAC Debut 6.2 bookshelf speakers. And I have to tell you guys, I know there has been a lot of hype around these speakers recently. These are absolutely incredible. If you're in the market for new speakers, if you're in the market for new bookshelf speakers, this, in my opinion, is the best way to go. Best bang for your buck in terms of price, in terms of quality, and all of the above. So this was actually when I was trying to go through and figure out what I wanted. I'm going to be honest. I had a very kind of small budget that I wanted to work with. And my budget was $200 for a pair of just new, nice bookshelf speakers because my old vintage ones were just beat and didn't sound good and wasn't worth what I was putting into in terms of buying new music and paying a lot of money for certain presses and vinyl, so it just didn't make sense. So I knew that I needed to upgrade my speakers. And so I was talking to a couple of my friends about it, and Brad over at H2 Vinyl, I told him that I was kind of thinking about this, and he went through and started doing some research, and he said, you know, and actually I wasn't even looking at this particular bookshelf speaker from ELAC. I was looking at a pair of cheaper bookshelf speakers from ELAC for my budget, which was $200. And he said, you know, there's a sale going on, and for an extra $50, you can get the top ones, the best ones. And I was kind of going back and forth with it, but you know what? for an extra $50 to get the best, totally gonna do it. They were on sale anyway. Okay, these are originally $350, and I got the pair for $250. So that was kind of a present to myself. I'd been working lunch duty and things like that in my school, so that was like a present to myself in terms of upgrade. But to keep, long story short, so Brad over at H2 Vinyl did research, said, yeah, these are really nice. So with his kind of information that he gave me and some support from some other friends, I pulled the trigger on this, and I am so happy that I did, you guys. These speakers are incredible. Absolutely incredible. So happy about these. All right, so of course here's my table. This is the Audio-Technica LP120. I call it my loyal table because it is. Eventually we'll upgrade the table, but not needed right now. It does its job just fine. So this came with the AT95, just the standard cartridge that comes with the LP120s, and it's fine, but of course it's nothing great. It stuck with me for a year just because of figuring out what I wanted to do in terms of upgrades, and did I want a new table or did I just want to upgrade the cartridge. So as you can see, my loyal table, not time for an upgrade yet, so I upgraded to the Ortofon 2M Red cartridge. Of course the blue would have been nice too, but for the price, we're definitely going to go with the red right now. But between a new cartridge and the new speakers, I am definitely experiencing music in a new way. I'm experiencing albums in a new way, and I'm just so happy about these upgrades. So cannot go wrong with that. All right, so those are the new speakers. That's a new cartridge. Like I said, nothing crazy, but if you're in, the market for new bookshelf speakers, or you want to upgrade your LP120 and don't really know the next thing, I definitely recommend both the ELACs and of course the Ortofon 2M Red. So that's all for this video, everybody. Hope you all are doing well, staying safe out there, and I will see you for my next video. Bye, guys.